Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Stanford, CEO of the Hope and Healing Center and Institute, and I'm the author of Grace for the Afflicted, a clinical and biblical perspective on mental illness. I thought I'd give you some insights into what I was thinking or particular things that I wanted you to understand about the book. Week 1. As we talk about how individuals have been broken by mental illness, it's very, very important that we understand that God has made us as a multi-part being with a physical body and with immaterial aspects of our being like our mind and our soul. If we don't fully understand that, we tend to focus only on individual aspects of our being. Week 2, and that is the demonic involved in mental illness? Unfortunately, I find that most people's understanding of Satan and the demonic is tended to be more influenced by movies or books, not the Bible. So what I've tried to do in this chapter is I've tried to simply go through and look at the verses related to the demonic and let us make our decisions on our own. Week 3. This week, we talk about the secular and the sacred. Psychology and psychiatry tend to be secular disciplines, and faith is often in conflict with those disciplines. My hope is that after reading this chapter and going through the discussion, you'll understand that there really isn't a conflict. They both want to help people be better. They both want to help people reach a high quality of life, and there's an incredible opportunity for them to work together. Week 4. It's one of my favorite stories in the Bible, where Hezekiah is dying of an infection, and God tells Isaiah the prophet to tell him to use a poultice of figs or a cake of figs to help that infection. The chapter talks about using physical remedies like psychiatric medication for illnesses that we might have. Many people are confused by this, and they wonder if they really should take medication or they should trust in God's healing abilities. I argue that we should do both, and I hope you have that same sense as you finish the discussion. Week 5. This week, you'll tackle the disorder chapters. The chapters are laid out in such a way that you'll talk about the history of a disorder's diagnosis. You'll talk about the scientific basis of that disorder and how you might treat it. But you'll also look at biblical examples of those disorders and what does the Bible say about, say, for instance, depression or bipolar disorder. It is my hope as you come out of this discussion that you have not only a better understanding of each disorder, but an understanding of how a person with that disorder might be suffering. Week 6. In the United States, every year, 40,000 individuals die by suicide. It's a very sad statistic. 90% plus of those individuals are suffering with a mental health problem at the time of their death. Suicide is the result of mental illness. Mental illness is a terminal illness. As you go through this week, my hope is that you'll understand that suicide is not a spiritual issue, but it's a mental health issue. There are many questions that are raised about individuals who commit suicide. What is their eternal destination? Have they committed a sin by ending their lives? I hope as you come out of the chapter, you'll understand that these are questions we shouldn't be asking. We really should be asking, how can we comfort the family and how can we prevent these horrible tragedies? Week 7. This week, you'll talk about what it looks like to put together a mental health care plan, specifically a holistic mental health care plan that takes into account the entire aspect of a person's being, their body, mind, spirit, and relationships. It's difficult, it takes a lot of doing, and there's a lot of detail, but I will promise you that if you institute this in the life of a person with mental health problem, they will recover. Week 8. The church has a huge role to play in mental health care recovery and in fixing the broken mental health care system. My hope for this chapter was that people would learn what can the church do. Simple things they can do like sermons, or more difficult things they might do by like putting in place support groups or mental health coaches. The church has a role to play in mental health recovery, and I hope you come out of this chapter with a great passion for that. Thanks for participating in the Grace for the Afflicted discussion group. I hope that it's been beneficial to you, and I hope that it's transformative for your church. Please stay in touch with the Hope and Healing Center and Institute at mentalhealthgateway.org.